Hey guys, and welcome back. This is going to be the LED eye tutorial for the different masks. They're not specific to these masks only, but they will work with any mask. The project will cost somewhere between $1 and $20 depending on how you decide to do it. The first method is the cheapest, and it's just for glowing eyes on a regular mask. See, it really lights up my eyes, all that. Just dandy. That costs $1, and it's very easy to install. It requires no wiring experience. The other two ways are going to be different methods to achieve this effect, where you get this just super bright eyes, where it looks like the eyes are shining out at you. This method will cost you somewhere between $3 and $20, and if you choose to do the more complex method, which does require soldering experience, you can also add a tongue switch or a lip switch, however you want to do it. So you can turn it on and off without even taking the mask off. Which is great. It adds a nice effect because you can wear it around without the lights on, and then as soon as you make eye contact with someone, you just flip them on, and it kind of freaks little kids out. It's fun. So yeah, I'm going to go over the 3 different methods for those eyes, 2 methods for those spotlight style eyes, which does require that you have kind of a lens, and the 1 method for the cheap kind of glowing eyes, which will show your actual pupils and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so for the first method of the LED eyes, the version that I have on this mask, the glowing eyes, which has 3 different patterns and will light up your eyes, all that. This is the $1 to probably $5 way to do it. There are 2 different products that I found right away that I could find at Target and at the dollar store that will achieve this effect. So one of them is this glowing bracelet. It says try me, you push the button, it lights up. And the other is this LED shoelace thing, which you can get on Amazon, or I got this one at Target, and you push the button and it's meant to have kind of these glowing shoelaces in there. But it has 2 LEDs. You can take this apart and get the circuit board out of it. That's actually what is in this. But for this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys the dollar store bracelet version. I'm going to take this apart and show you what that's about. The first thing to consider when you're buying these parts to get the LED eyes is you want to get red. So unless you're in some special situations. I know the red doesn't match every project, but it's something that you might not have thought about before. But if you're using white light or blue light or green light, that all ruins your night vision. And most of the time we want to wear masks in a variety of situations for Halloween or for a party or whatever. And if you're using a different color other than red, it will mess up your night vision, which will make it so you can't see. And that's a problem. So I chose red. You can get this at the dollar store. It's a light up LED bracelet. There's also all sorts of things at the dollar store that you can buy that have these LEDs. So we're going to take this apart. So first thing you're going to do is just pull this thing apart, pull the bands off it. That's no big deal. Now you end up with this little plastic piece. As you can see here, it has, where's my screwdriver? It has some screws on it that we're just going to take off. Okay, so we got the screws out. From here, we're just going to pull it apart. You see there's a button in this half of it, and this half has the circuit. All we got to do is lift this out of here, take this plastic, toss it, and we will want the button to possibly glue this on again, but you don't need to. The way that these buttons work, you'll see let's see if I can put it right up to the camera, right here on this corner. I'm not sure if it'll focus this close. There's a little squiggly line thing, and sometimes you can get it to work with just your finger because I think you're just trying to make a connection across these. This already has batteries in it. It's super simple. What you're going to want to do is hot glue this right on the forehead piece of the mask. And what that'll do is that'll cast light on your eyes, which really lights up your eyes and makes it creepy looking. And it also, if you've got big enough holes on the mask, as you can see in this one, it'll cast some red light down on the cheekbones. So it's hard to see in the daylight, but it does cast light onto the cheekbones, onto this whole section, which is really neat looking in the dark. Anyways, this is literally as simple as taking this board, gluing it in with the batteries facing towards your face. That way if you do need to change the batteries, you can. And that's honestly as difficult as this is. You're going to buy a dollar bracelet, take a screwdriver. I had to use my multi-tool because I didn't have a small enough bit for those screwdrivers. But take a screwdriver, take out 4 screws, pull it apart, take this out, you're ready to go. Honestly, it's that simple. This is the preferred method for me if you don't have a mask that has lenses. If you do have a mask with lenses, you're going to want to use the other method, which I'll show you in a minute. But those methods are a little bit more difficult. The other thing to keep in mind with this is you may want to buy 2 of these. A lot of times when you buy this kind of stuff from the dollar store, it'll be defective, or one LED will be a lot brighter than the other. For only $1, you might as well buy 2, just have a backup. And if it fails, you know, hot glue is really easy to pull out. You just rip it off, glue a new one in there. That's one reason the hot glue is so great. Another thing, when I use this, which is what I actually did use on my project, I had to take out some screws, and then I actually had to pry it apart. If you get something like this that ends up needing pried apart, be very careful, wear eye protection, use an adult, have an adult nearby if you are young and need assistance, and just be careful. You don't want to stab yourself while you're trying to pry something apart. So be careful on that. Send me pictures. Post in the comments what you think of this method, and send me pictures if you can, or a link to a picture of what you did with this method. If you made a mask with it, I really am interested to see what you guys can do with it. Again, make sure to use red light unless you're only using it during the daytime. If you're going to be using it only during the daytime, other colors will be fine. Yeah, let's get on to the second method. Alright, so this second method will give you the effect like what you see on screen. They only work in some mask that has lenses or goggles, but I think they turn out looking really nice, as you see here. What you'll need for this second method is very little, only $2 worth of parts, hot glue, and some pliers. One thing to note right away is that these are directly in front of my eyes, so it does take up the very center of your vision. You can still see out through the lenses just fine. However, if you're in a busy atmosphere such as a party or Comic-Con, you may want to avoid this method because it does limit your vision somewhat. And you might want to go with something like the previous method. So what I've done is go to the dollar store and pick up 2 LED book lamps. You can get similar book lamps at any dollar store, Walmart, or maybe Amazon. But they need to have the battery pack, the wire, and then going to the reflective lens part over at the end. All I've done is taken some pliers and trimmed away all of the extra plastic around the edges. Really easy, but be careful not to cut yourself during this. Once I've done that, I hot glued them into the cheeks where they wouldn't bother me, routed those wires up, and right into the center of the eye holes. Very simple. You've got a switch on each side to light up each eye, and changeable batteries if you do end up running them dead. The tricky part of this one becomes when you need to actually glue it up against the lens. What you're going to need to do, as you see here, is put them directly up against those sunglass lenses, and to do this you can just use a little dot of hot glue around the edges. Again, if you're worried about the light bleed, you can always use red light, but if you do it properly, you shouldn't get any light bleed into the mask, so you should be able to retain your night vision. This next part is going to be the third method, but is going to be just another way to get the same effect. I think this is the better way to do it. It lasts longer, it gives a better effect, a more even effect, but it is a little bit more expensive, and it does require some soldering experience. When I did the book lamps the first time, I ended up with one of them being a little bit brighter than the other just because of the low quality control of those, dollar store book lamps. So I kind of concocted this instead. So these are the parts you'll need. You can feel free to pause here and look at the actual part numbers. I got them from Radio Shack, and they'll cost you a couple bucks each, but I got 2 bright white LEDs, a micro potentiometer to change the resistance and brightness, a toggle switch, and a battery holder. Really simple. All we're doing is running 3 batteries through those wires to the switch, to the potentiometer, and through each LED back to the batteries. Just a simple loop. I'll have a circuit diagram up here in a second. If you're not confident that you can have any soldering skills or any electrical skills, this is an easy circuit to start with. Here's the diagram. However, maybe take your time with it. Maybe get somebody that's more experienced to help you out, because it is really easy to mess up if you haven't done this before. Make sure the LEDs are positioned the right direction. You have to have the negative the right direction, the positive the right direction, all that. But again, if you've done this kind of thing before, it's not too bad. Make sure to give yourself plenty of slack in the wire between each part. You'll see I ran straight to the potentiometer, to the switch, to LEDs. You want a lot of wire because what that's going to do is allow you to route the wires wherever you would like inside the mask. For instance, I wanted the battery pack on the cheek, but the switch next to the mouth, and of course the eyes in the eye holes, or the lights in the eye holes, I mean. So keep that in mind. This is what it started to look like when I started to glue it in. I just went piece by piece, glued in the battery pack, glued in the switch next to the mouth, which is a good idea if you would like to add the lip switch, which is what I've done. Then I started to route the LEDs around to where the eyes go. Not super hard there. I then used some black silicone glue to glue the LEDs into those same reflective flashlight parts that came in the book lamps from the previous method. And that wasn't too bad. You'll see that I've glued them down, and it's done. That's literally all there is to it. You have the one switch which flips on and off both LEDs, and if you add a little extender onto that switch, or get a long switch, you can actually just turn it on and off like you see here with your mouth, which is great. The potentiometer you can turn with a screwdriver or sometimes with your hands, and that'll adjust the brightness. Just be careful, don't turn it all the way to the brightest level, or you do run the risk of burning out your LEDs. I think that the mask turns out really good this way. It does give a nice effect that you can flip on and off the eyes while you're looking at somebody. So, you walk up to them with the lights off, and as soon as you make eye contact, you can just flip the eyes on. Little kids love it. I think it's a great mask. I think this is the preferred method for this mask for LED eyes. But again, this only works when you have some kind of lens, some sunglass lenses, some goggles. This would work with some kind of steampunk goggles or something like that as well. However, keep in mind again, it does take up a little bit of your vision. It's not the best for parties or Comic-Con or stuff like that. I wore it to Comic-Con and it was very hard to navigate around since I didn't have my peripheral vision from the mask, and then I lost a little bit of my center vision from the lights. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Put in the comments section down below if you have any questions about any of these methods. I'd be happy to help you. And you have a great day.